The day Chu Jie's white moonlight returned, he handed me a divorce agreement. Sign it, it's fake, just act it out to make her happy. Seeing I didn't respond, he added casually. I pursed my lips and quietly signed my name. After getting up and leaving, I heard laughter and teasing from the private room. Sis-in-law really listens to you so obediently. Yige, could it be that if you said to get the marriage certificate, she'd go with you without even blinking? Chu Jie casually glanced at the agreement in his hand. Wanna bet? They bet that as long as Brother Yi said the word, I'd follow him like a dog, even if I cried my eyes out. Get the divorce certificate. I didn't stop walking, nor did I look back. I answered a phone call, and the young man on the other end had a soft, coquettish tone with a rising inflection. Can you divorce him? Sis, okay, you're not lying to me. There was a pause on the other end for a few seconds. I hung up the phone. The laughter and teasing in the private room didn't stop. Alright, let's make a bet. If she's really that obedient, I'll cover everyone's drinks for the next 3 months. Don't rush, Chu Jie said slowly. Another burst of laughter and chatter followed. I walked out in a daze. It wasn't until I stepped out of the club's entrance and looked up at the bright sunlight that tears finally rolled down from my eyes. The young master of the Chu family has been pursuing someone lately. Not one of those aristocratic ladies from the socialite circle who sip red wine and pretend to be elegant, but a girl in a cotton dress who crouches at the entrance of an alley to feed stray cats, a 500 square meter Riverview apartment within the 3rd Ring Road, a newly added pink Rolls-Royce Cullinan in the garage, and sets of jewelry on the vanity, all sent to her like a flowing stream. Yet the girl took off the jewelry necklace and returned it to him, too heavy. It's annoying and uncomfortable. Chu Jie bit down on his cigarette and smiled. Then what do you want? Moonlight seeped through the floor-to-ceiling window, casting a small shadow from her eyelashes onto her face. Young Master Chu, what do people in your circle call someone like this? She traced the creases on the leather sofa. A mistress, a plaything. The ashtray was suddenly swept to the floor. As Chu Jie gripped her chin and leaned in, he caught the cheap jasmine scent of her shampoo. Unlike the salon perfumes worn by his other bed partners, stop pretending to be so high and mighty, he sneered. You clearly know my background. The girl suddenly threw her head back and laughed, revealing 2 small canine teeth. That's exactly why it's even more impossible, she said softly, tapping his chest. I don't do affairs with taken men. To this day, I've lost count of how many acts Chu Jie has asked me to perform with him, truth and lies, no matter how much I think about it. I'm the only one who ended up taking it all seriously. The first time, he said he liked me. At that time, I didn't know who Lin Yuehe was. At the amusement park, I held Chu Jie's hand tightly, our fingers intertwined. My eyes were filled with laughter, and I was immersed in happiness. Chu Jie kept scrolling through his phone. Suddenly, his expression lit up with excitement, and he put away his phone. Looking around, following his gaze, I saw a beautiful girl in a white dress. Just like the dress I was wearing. That's Lin Yuehe. She didn't notice us and was laughing and chatting with the boy beside her. Chu Jie pulled me toward them. Chu Jie faced Lin Yuehe and that boy with a forced smile. Competitiveness flared up, and he introduced me to her. Yue, this is my girlfriend. After we greeted each other and went our separate ways, Chu Jie let go of my hand, turned around, and left. For the next 3 days, he didn't contact me even once. The second time, he argued with me. Traveling in an unfamiliar city, he said he was going to buy water, but he never came back. I was alone in the unfamiliar city, with my wallet and phone both on him, feeling lost and helpless. Later, I found out that Chu Jie had been following me from a distance the whole time, just watching me get lost, get drenched in the rain, and cry my heart out. He took a video and playfully sent it to Lin Yuehe. Honestly, you can't be without me for even a moment. You're crying like this after just a short time apart, Lin Yuehe replied with something, and his expression instantly turned cold. He went back to the hotel alone. The third time, he wanted to marry me. We're together now. The latest post on the Moments is a photo of Lin Yuehe holding hands with someone. Posted as an official announcement after losing a game of Truth or Dare. Chu Jie looked at it for hours. Then he drove to my house. Shen Qingli, let's go get our marriage certificate. We had been engaged for a long time, but Chu Jie kept putting it off, saying he wasn't ready to settle down and didn't want to get married yet. Now that he suddenly brought it up, everyone just assumed he had matured and was finally willing to commit, and so, with a heart full of joy, I followed him into the hall of marriage, and this time, he said he wanted to divorce me. Shen Qingli, let's go get the certificate. Exactly the same words. Okay. I interrupted Chu Jie just as he was about to continue explaining. He still looked somewhat stunned. Really, you agree? I calmed myself down, my eyes aching and my throat sore. I agree. That day, the District Civil Affairs Bureau was buzzing with excitement from the moment Chu Jie woke up. He drove to pick me up before work hours even started, and we headed to the bureau. While waiting outside, he casually chatted with me as he replied to messages on his phone. What gift would you like for your birthday next month? Do you still want a music box? You've loved this since you were a kid, and you were always so happy when you got one for your birthday every year. We grew up together. When I was 6, he gave me a music box, and I was overjoyed. After that, he thought I only liked music boxes and never bothered to give me anything else. At 9 a.m., we walked into the Civil Affairs Bureau on time. While waiting, he looked at me, gently wiping my red, moist eyes. Why are you crying? It was just an act to coax her. Did you really take it seriously? His tone was affectionate, but his hand never stopped typing replies on the other side. Walking to the window, the staff asked, according to the regulations, are both parties voluntarily divorcing? Yes. Questions were also asked about the reasons for the divorce and whether there were any children, and we cooperated fully. The process was quick, and Chu Jie took the receipt. After a 1-month cooling-off period, both of you can come to collect the divorce certificate. Before leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, Chu Jie took a photo of the receipt and casually handed it to me. He lowered his head to send a message, then my phone also received a message. A screenshot was sent to my phone. I'm single now. Stop talking about mistresses or not. You don't find it unpleasant to hear, but I do. Below is a photo of the receipt for the divorce registration application. The sender is Lin Yuehe, and this divorce is just a show put on for her. I looked up at Chu Jie, who was walking ahead with light and cheerful steps. He said it was an act, put on for Lin Yuehe to see. Now it seems, was it for her to see, or was it an act for me to see? I replied with feigned indifference. Hope you have fun. Lin Yuehe, on the other hand, did not reply again. Instead, another message popped up. Do you have time tomorrow? I took a taxi back by myself. Chu Jie was really eager to find Lin Yuehe, so I tactfully didn't disturb him. I woke up very early today and was quite sleepy, so I dozed off in the car. I dreamed of Chu Jie again. We grew up together since childhood, and our families have been close friends for generations, with the elders having a very good relationship. When I was little, Chu Jie was very good to me. I had a weak constitution since childhood and rarely went out, so he was my only playmate of the same age. He would compliment me, saying I looked like a princess in my pretty dress, and promised to always protect his little sister, Ali. Back then, he would carefully hold my hand and lead me to the elders. In a childish tone, I asked everyone, can I marry Sister Ali when I grow up? The adults burst into laughter. And the marriage was just like that settled. After that, we became inseparable, and our families even bought houses next to each other. Until that day, as usual, I followed behind Chu Jie, who was surrounded by a group of good friends. They laughed and joked, talking about the amusing things that had just happened. The phone rang, and I answered it. May I ask if this is Shen Qingli? I regret to inform you that the flight AC-4968 your parents were on has crashed, and there are currently no survivors. My mind went blank, and after that, I couldn't make out anything else said on the phone. Seeing that I wasn't keeping up, little Chu Jie took over the phone. His expression changed, and he picked up the disoriented, dazed me and took me back to his home. For a long time after that, I didn't dare to sleep alone. Chu Jie would coax me to sleep every night, softly singing gentle lullabies and telling heartwarming fairy tales. From then on, my world had only him in it. From elementary school to high school, we were always deskmates. We went to school together and came home together. In the most youthful and carefree days of my boyhood, I never made any other friends. I always knew it was him. Chu Jie, with his domineering yet indifferent manner, blocked my interactions with peers, and so, we spent over a decade together as childhood friends. Naturally, one day, he looked at me with a smile and gently kissed my eyes, kneeling by the bed. He softly asked if it was okay. I obediently closed my eyes and wrapped my arms around his neck. He said we would be together forever. He said he would take care of you for a lifetime. He said our world would only have each other. The car jolted, and I woke from my dream. I took out my phone to check the time. And a message happened to pop up. It was a picture. Bright red roses covered the bedsheet. The bathroom door was steamy, and inside, the faint silhouette of a familiar man was reflected. My heart ached sharply. With trembling hands, I turned off my phone, closed my eyes, and forced myself to forget everything I had just seen. After arriving home, I stumbled into the bathroom, let the cold water pour over my head, wrapped my arms around my knees, and crouched helplessly in the corner, crying bitterly. The sound of the running water in the bathroom was loud, enough to drown out all other noises. I don't know how much time passed before I returned to the bedroom, dripping wet, and glanced at my phone. There were 27 missed calls, all from the same person. Another call came through at that moment. I answered but didn't speak. After a moment of silence on the other end, a clear and crisp male voice came through, like jade striking ice in the quiet of the night. "What's wrong? Why haven't you been answering your calls?" Ju Jiming. He could hear the choke in my voice. "Sister, what's wrong?" Ju Jiming was my direct junior from university. Chu Jie and I didn't attend the same university for all 4 years. He said he was tired of the city's dullness and monotony, yearning for the freshness and freedom of an unfamiliar city. I stayed behind in Haicheng to attend university alone. Ju Jiming was a junior in the same major, 1 year below me. One day, during a professional class, he knocked and entered, nodded to the teacher at the podium, then walked straight to the back of the classroom and sat down. He put on his headphones and immediately began typing away on his computer. The teacher on the podium, the kindest and most tolerant professor in the college, just smiled and continued the lecture. Thinking he was a student who had arrived late, given my personality, I wouldn't normally pay attention to such things, but he happened to sit right next to me. As the class was about to end, his eyes were still fixed on the homework displayed on the screen, and he casually asked, "Excuse me, could you please send me a copy of the lecture notes after class? Thanks." His overly familiar tone made me frown, but I didn't respond, focusing instead on the lecture. When no answer came for a while, he turned to look at me in confusion. With just one glance, he froze. His delicate face instantly flushing red to the tips of his ears. He opened his mouth but couldn't say another word for a long time. After class, he caught up with me, his droopy puppy eyes dark and bright, looking at me like an excited little dog, as if I could almost see a wagging tail behind him. "Hello, senior. My name is Ju Jiming, and I'm from the class of 2020. The young man in front of me had delicate features, and when he spoke to me, his tone always ended with a slight upward inflection, as if he were acting cute. I never talk to strangers, so I sidestepped him and continued walking. He followed on his own, still chattering away as if they were old friends. "Senior, what's your name?" "Senior, is your next major class at this time too?" "Senior." After that, he would save me a seat in class every day, pretend to run into me on campus, and I could always see him waiting in the cafeteria. Slowly, during the 4 years Chu Jie was out of touch, he gradually filled my college life in his own way. Similarly, it was during these 4 years that Lin Yueha appeared. We lived our lives like two parallel lines. He pursued his fleeting passions freely, and I made the first friend in my life besides him. After marrying Chu Jie, my life returned to normal. Although Ju Jiming later said it was pathological, Ju Jiming was unusually quiet for 2 days after finding out I had gotten married. It wasn't until I had a stomach illness and was sent to the hospital that my roommate contacted my emergency contact. Chu Jie, a sweet, feminine voice answered on the other end. "Who is it?" "Chu Jie, it's for you." My roommate hastily hung up the phone, and the other end didn't call back, so the matter was dropped. Meanwhile, Ju Jiming found out I was in the hospital and rushed over in a panic, bringing flowers and fruit. He crouched by the hospital bed, his damp eyes looking up at me from below, filled with heartache. Perhaps it was because the weather was so nice, it was my favorite kind of overcast, rainy day. Or perhaps it was because he had such beautiful eyes. In any case, that day was the first time I opened up to someone. That day, I told him a lot about myself. Aside from my childhood, the rest felt more like an autobiographical memoir of Chu Jie. It was then that I realized the most important part of my life had been missing all along. Myself. After graduation, my world once again revolved solely around Chu Jie. It could be said that I have once again confined myself to a world where only Chu Jie exists. Until the appearance of the divorce agreement tore apart all the pretense of dignity, I have always known about Lin Yueha's existence. That girl has been sending me messages from the very beginning. But since Chu Jie never brought it up, I never mentioned it either. Rather than deep love, it's more that I'm too lazy to dig deeper, too lazy to break this peace. I've long grown used to it. One day after signing the divorce agreement, I went to the club as usual to bring him an umbrella. The familiar private room was noisy and chaotic. Brother Yi, what if your wife finds out you divorced for Lin Yueha and really gets angry with you? She won't get angry, I heard Chu Jie answer carelessly. Yes. He was so certain that I wouldn't be angry with him. That's true, I really don't know what sister-in-law, with her quiet nature, would do without Brother Yi. He only married her because of their childhood connection. Alright, let's stop talking for now. Qingli will be here soon. After a few minutes, I pushed the door open and went in. He took the umbrella and invited me to sit down and play together. I smiled and declined, then turned around and left. Looking at the message Ju Jiming sent on my phone, I thought for a moment and replied, okay. Looking at the messages Ju Jiming sent on the phone, after you divorce that person, could you be with me? Okay, if you're not willing, it's fine, I'll keep pursuing you. Please don't feel any psychological burden, you're so wonderful. Surely, it wasn't until I replied with the word okay that his flood of messages finally stopped. After a pause of a few seconds, he called directly, sis. What you said earlier, is it true? You really agreed to be with me? Even through the phone, I could hear the suppressed excitement in his tone. And I could imagine him wagging his tail and spinning around at that moment. Yes, it's true, I agree, I answered sentence by sentence. That's great. No, I mean it's a pity. No, it's still great. Then I'll help you contact a divorce lawyer first. I have a cousin in my family who is a lawyer, and is very skilled in his work. He seemed afraid that the hope would be dashed, only wanting to quickly cut off the connection between me and Chu Jie. Everything after that went smoothly, with brother Ju Jiming handling all the divorce matters on my behalf. During this time, Ju Jiming accompanied me in doing something even more important, finding myself again. We went to the mountaintop to watch the sunrise, camped to see the sunset, and ran together along the seashore. Are you happy? He shouted with a drawn-out tone by the sea. I'm so happy. I imitated him, stretching out the tone and shouting. This was the first time I had been this happy since my parents passed away. When they heard I was moving out of that house, Ju Jiming insisted on accompanying me to pack my things. I sat on the sofa, watching him busily pack the luggage back and forth. Chu Jie sent me a message at that very moment. It was a picture. The photo showed an exquisite music box, with the background being a very cute boutique from abroad. However, in the upper right corner of the photo, half of a woman's finger was visible. How about giving this to you for your birthday in a few days? No need to ask, you definitely like it anyway. Why haven't you replied for so long? He was used to me being at his beck and call, always responding to his messages instantly. Upon receiving his message, I felt an inexplicable wave of annoyance. Looking up, I saw Ju Jiming lifting his shirt to wipe off sweat, his well-defined abs and lean waistline particularly eye-catching. Seeing me look at him, Ju Jiming flashed a shy, handsome smile, the tips of his ears turning red. I smiled too. Life is indeed full of hope. The day before going to get the divorce certificate, Chu Jie returned to the country and sent a message. Why aren't you at home? He didn't notice that my luggage was also missing, only thinking that I was out having fun. Perhaps it was because he hadn't seen my reply for a long time. Or maybe he finally realized that all my things were gone. He called, Shen Qingli, What's wrong with you? Seeing that I remained silent, he chuckled softly. Are you angry? I've never seen you angry before, it's quite a rare sight. Didn't I tell you already? This is just a fake divorce for us, just putting on a show for her. You didn't actually take it seriously, did you? I just remained silent, not knowing what to say to him for the first time. There was still a noisy background sound on his end. It must have been that group of friends gathered at his place. Qingli, you remember, right? Tomorrow we're going to get our marriage certificate. Chu Jie was about to say something else when a burst of teasing and the flustered, playful scolding of a girl erupted from the other end. He suddenly started breathing rapidly, then urged me to go to bed early, told me not to be late tomorrow, and quickly hung up the phone. The next day, we both arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau early without prior agreement. It had been a month since we last met, and Chu Jie hadn't changed at all, but I had. He stepped forward and pulled me into an embrace, familiarly stroking my hair. You came so early. How did you sleep last night? I subtly avoided his gesture and took a serious look at him. The door is open, let's go in. I didn't answer his question. The process of getting the certificate was extremely simple. And soon we walked out of the Civil Affairs office with a brand new divorce certificate. He looked at the divorce certificate in his hand with curiosity, then turned and smiled at me. I'll come find you for dinner later. What would you like to eat? It was as if nothing had happened, but he didn't know that everything had already changed. Chu Jie, goodbye, I said to him. He waved back at me. All right then, goodbye, I'll come pick you up tonight. Chu Jie didn't understand what I meant by that goodbye, and of course, he didn't bother to figure it out. He comforted me as if completing a task, and once he saw I had no negative emotions, he turned and left first. I watched his retreating figure. Just like every time before, all he ever left me with was his back. He didn't look back this time either, and I smiled with relief, then turned and walked away. Chu Jie's past kindness to me was beyond doubt. Without him, I wouldn't have made it through the days right after my parents passed away. He stayed by my side, comforting me softly and persuading me gently. No matter what he does now, it cannot erase the kindness Chu Jie once showed me. Back at home, I felt inexplicably tired and just wanted to sleep for a long time. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by the phone ringing. I picked it up casually and saw the thunderstorm outside the window, which lifted my mood a little. The next second, the voice coming from the phone plunged me into utter despair. Sister Yua, stop playing with your phone over there and come join us. Then came a soft, delicate female voice saying okay, don't even mention her. She's so boring, like a log in bed, not making a sound. She can't compare to our Miss Yuehe. Sister Yu, you're so much more interesting than Brother Yi's wife. That Shun Qingli really has no merits besides being obedient. I don't know how Brother Yi has put up with her all these years. Yeah. This divorce really feels like a bitter end leading to a sweet beginning for you. E.g., next, something else was said, and the girl called Yu Jie seemed to get angry, prompting everyone to gently coax her. Yua, I've told you before, my relationship with Shun Qingli was just for show when we were kids because I felt sorry for her. Honestly, I can't stand her. Don't be mad, Yua, we're past all that. I never liked her in the first place. It was all our parents and the elders who insisted we get married. Thankfully, we're finally divorced now. How about I take you to meet my mom tomorrow? Her parents died early. Forget it, it's quite pitiful. Let's have fun. Don't mention her anymore, it's such a downer. It felt as if something I had always held onto in my heart shattered with a loud crash. My hands and feet turned icy cold, and my whole body trembled. I never knew that he and his friends had always seen me this way. Nor did I expect that Chu Jie could say such heart-wrenching words. The heavy rain outside is still beating against the window, and the thunder drowns out my sobs. Suddenly, I feel so lost, as if my connection to the world has vanished in an instant. Chu Jie, in my state of confusion and helplessness. My fingers unconsciously tightened, and I accidentally made a call. Surprisingly, the other end picked up quickly, even though it was so late. Sister, what's wrong so late at night? Did something happen? It's Ju Jiming. Is this fate? I actually dialed Ju Jiming's number without thinking. I didn't know how to say it, or what to say. I just kept crying. Are you home alone? Don't cry. don't cry, I'll be right there." In less than 10 minutes, Ju Jiming arrived. He was out of breath, raindrops trickling down from his hair. Seeing me curled up in the corner, my shoulders still trembling violently, I looked up at him, my swollen eyes barely able to open. Ju Jiming's eyes were filled with heartache. Without a word, he bent down and picked me up. I covered my head with his coat and nestled in his arms as we walked together into the curtain of rain. Yes, you, hand over the card to pay for the drinks. That's right, brother Yi, quick, throw the divorce certificate in his face. Ha ha ha, everyone burst into laughter, and Chu Jie, reclining in the middle of the sofa, laughed along with them, in a drunken stupor. I don't know how much time has passed, Chu Jie's childhood friend exclaimed in surprise. Holy crap, isn't this the missus? What missus? Which missus? Which one could it be? It's definitely brother Yi's. Everyone leaned in around him, crowding to look at his phone. It really is her, the first to exclaim. His childhood friend jumped up to show the phone to Chu Jie. Chu Jie took the phone with a helpless expression, finding them rather amusing, however, after just one glance at the photo. He froze. Who else could the girl in the picture be but Shen Qingli? In the photo, a man and a woman stood side by side, smiling at each other by the seaside, looking like a perfect match. The post caption, "Whose brother and sister-in-law did I capture in this photo?" Hundreds of thousands of likes, tens of thousands of comments, all were kind praises about the couple's good looks and compatibility. But one comment caught his attention. "Isn't this the young master of the Ju family?" Chu Jie slowly read out this comment. The Ju family. Which Ju family? The one from the capital. A family member based in the capital took the phone and examined the photo carefully. Is that really the young master of the Ju family? Why is sister-in-law with him? How do they know each other? Chu Jie also wanted to ask. Shen Qingli's world had only him, no friends, no family. When did she get to know someone else without his knowledge? He slowly pulled out a cigarette, lit it. But didn't smoke it, just let it burn. Seeing his strange expression, the others made excuses and left together. The private room was now empty except for him, dimly lit with only a faint red light flickering. He took out his phone, found that post, and studied it carefully for a long time. He let out a scornful laugh and made the call. Never mind that it's 3 a.m., Shen Qingli has always been available at a moment's notice. Sorry, the number you have dialed is busy. Please try again later. 3 calls in a row went unanswered. How dare she block me? I was at Ju Jiming's house at that moment, having cried myself to exhaustion and fallen into a drowsy sleep in his bedroom. I felt someone walking over with light footsteps and sitting by the bed. His slender fingers carefully touched my brows and eyes, gently tracing my slightly trembling eyelashes, which quivered from my unsettled emotions. Unconsciously, I moved closer to the warmth, and he cooperatively bent down to draw nearer to me. I buried my face in the crook of his neck, and he instantly stiffened, holding his breath as if afraid to disturb the tranquility, until I softly whispered his name. The morning sunlight gently streamed into the room. I hadn't slept this well in a long time, so I stretched and got out of bed. Just then, Ju Jiming walked into the bedroom, holding an exquisite tray with breakfast he had made himself early in the morning. He walked softly to my side, gently stroked my hair, and whispered soothing words to me. "Sister is awake. Let's have breakfast first." Everything before my eyes is a warmth I haven't experienced since my parents passed away. To escape the painful memories of the past, I temporarily moved in with Ju Jiming. But Ju Jiming seems to have suddenly become very busy lately, leaving early and returning late every day. I happened to see him return very late one day, dressed very formally, a complete departure from his usual youthful style. A well-tailored navy blue suit jacket hugged his broad shoulders and narrow waist, exuding an elite aura. It was a Ju Jiming I had never seen before. Having grown accustomed to his sunny, puppy-like demeanor, I was momentarily taken aback by his suddenly composed and dignified appearance. I touched my slightly flushed face and thought to myself. A few days later, he returned to his usual routine, no longer leaving early and returning late. I watched his back from outside the door as he prepared dinner, and seeing his obedient demeanor made my heart itch with affection. Suddenly, I walked up and slipped my cold hands into his collar, startling Ju Jiming so much he nearly knocked over the frying pan. He turned and trapped me against the kitchen counter. Rubbing his flour-dusted nose against my cheek, the air was filled with the aroma of food and our laughter, and in the end, we still finished the slightly burnt dinner together, with Ju Jiming by my side. I gradually integrated into a normal life and discovered many beautiful things in the simplicity of everyday living. I unexpectedly noticed that the refrigerator always had fresh tomatoes. Ju Jiming never used them for cooking, but he replaced them with fresh ones every day. I asked him why. And without pausing the stirring in his hands, he casually replied, "I noticed before that you really enjoy eating raw tomatoes, so I've been keeping them stocked." My heart warmed. Is this the feeling of being truly cared for? It's so blissful, just as I was immersed in the happiness of my simple life with Ju Jiming. A message from an unknown number shattered the tranquility. "Where are you? Who are you with? Why haven't you been answering my calls? Was it Chu Jie?" Messages from different numbers came pouring in like snowflakes. "Reply to me. Who has your phone? Stop messing around. Come home quickly." The pain of our recent separation resurfaced, but this time I felt no sadness. I stood in my memories, yet I was merely a third-party observer. Another call came in. I paused my flour arranging, my movements slowly coming to a halt. Ju Jiming, who was lying on the table beside me, tilted his head, looking at me, then at the phone with a puzzled expression. I gave him a reassuring smile, answered the call, and instinctively put it on speakerphone. "Shen Qingli, where have you been all this time? You haven't contacted me at all. Someone took a picture of you with the young master of the Ju family. That wasn't you, right? Speak up. If you don't say anything, don't even think about getting a birthday gift this year. I've been too good to you before." He couldn't stop talking until Ju Jiming interrupted. "Sister, who is this? Your cheating ex-husband." The air froze. I looked at Ju Jiming, who was squinting his eyes like a fox and smiling triumphantly at me, and reached out my hand to him. He took my hand and rubbed his handsome face against my palm. Which man are you with? Aren't you being childish? Finding a man just to make me angry? Alright, stop messing around. Come home quickly. I already said it was just acting." "Why are you getting angry now?" I calmly called his name. "Chu Jie, we're already divorced. Please don't bother me anymore." A scoff came from the other end, the tone dripping with sarcasm. "Can't you be more sensible? Shen Qingli, always getting jealous over nothing. Don't be so petty. Yua is just a naive little girl. Why are you even angry with her?" I couldn't help but laugh. Without waiting for him to finish, I hung up and immediately blocked the number. By chance, I discovered that Ju Jiming's phone memos were filled with notes about all my preferences. I like to eat grapes, but I don't like peeling them. I only eat tomatoes and carrots raw, don't eat onions, but love cilantro. When scared, I have a habit of picking at my hands. When sad, I crave strawberry ice cream. The latest one reads, "Made sweet and sour pork ribs today. She ate an extra bowl of rice. So adorable. We'll make it again next time." Ju Jiming came back from the kitchen and saw this scene. His face flushed bright red, and he quickly ran over to snatch the phone back. I hid it behind my back and refused to give it to him. He tried to beg for mercy with folded hands but failed, then leaned in close to try and take it when I wasn't paying attention. Suddenly, I was enveloped in his shadow, his mint-scented body wrapped around me, and I looked up in panic just as he happened to bend down. Our lips accidentally brushing against each other, both froze simultaneously, his Adam's apple bobbing rapidly, his eyelashes casting trembling shadows beneath his eyes. The words of explanation vanished in the sudden closeness as he leaned in. The first touch was as light as a falling snowflake. When they parted, she tasted the lingering sweetness of lemon candy on the corner of his lips, while he was rubbing his own burning lower lip with his thumb. As if unable to believe that the softness of an entire spring had just blossomed there, coming to my senses, I blushed and stepped back. But he still didn't let go. Instead, holding me even tighter, he lowered his head, slowly reached out his hand, and lifted my chin with an undeniable force. Gradually drawing closer, his breath grew warm and rapid, gently brushing against my face. His lips gently met mine again, and in that instant, it felt as if an electric current surged through both of us. The kiss was soft and cautious, as if he were handling the most precious treasure in the world. A muffled thud came from behind as a phone hit the floor, but neither of them wanted to be the first to break the kiss. His voice was low and hoarse. "Will you marry me?" In a daze, I agreed to Ju Jiming's proposal. But as soon as I came to my senses, I began to regret it. But looking at Ju Jiming, who was still touching the corner of his mouth with a silly grin, my heart melted completely. Beauty is a curse. The next day, he took me to get my visa and then hurriedly helped me pack my luggage. It wasn't until the plane landed safely that I realized, because I was by his side, my fear of flying had completely vanished. Hand in hand, we strolled by the lake in a foreign country. Just like we always did, as we walked, Ju Jiming suddenly stopped in his tracks, and I looked at him with confusion. He took a deep breath and pulled out a small, exquisite red velvet box from his pocket, slowly. He knelt on one knee, opened the box, revealing a simple yet elegant ring inside. Sunlight fell on the ring, refracting a brilliant sparkle that illuminated Ju Jiming's sincere and affectionate eyes. "Shen Qingli, will you marry me? From the moment I first saw you, my world changed because of you. You are the most beautiful encounter in my life, and every moment spent with you makes me incredibly happy. Today, I want to make a lifelong promise to you right here. Will you marry me and let me protect you for the rest of my life?" The local residents around, seeing the proposal scene, gathered to cheer and make a commotion. I extended my right hand, smiling just as broadly, my eyes crinkling with joy. "I feel like this time it won't be a mistake. At this very moment, I am absolutely certain that I love him." We got our marriage certificate in Ireland, in a country where divorce is prohibited. Everything felt as blissful as a fairy tale. On the way back, Ju Jiming kept grinning foolishly while holding our marriage certificate. Seeing me staring at him, he leaned his head close to my face and nuzzled it. At the airport, I unexpectedly ran into Chu Jie again. He was holding Lin Yuehe's hand. Laughing and chatting on the other side, Chu Jie turned around and saw us. His expression changed, and without paying attention to Lin Yuehe beside him, he walked straight toward us. Noticing him approaching, I grabbed Ju Jiming, who was still lost in his wedding daydream, and immediately started running. Ju Jiming didn't know why I suddenly started running, but he still held my hand tightly and ran with me. The phone kept ringing all the way home. "Shen Qingli, who is that man? You're my wife. Walking with another man. Do you two have no shame? Haven't you caused enough trouble all this time? This is your last chance. Get home by tomorrow. My mom wants to see you." He is not the Chu Jie I used to know. No, or rather, I never truly knew Chu Jie. He has always been this terrible. After returning to the country, I was bombarded with messages asking me what happened. I'm puzzled. It shouldn't be like this. No one knew about my marriage to Ju Jiming. High school classmates I wasn't very close to have been messaging me to ask, and it turns out it's about Chu Jie. He's been posting numerous intimate photos with Lin Yuehe on his social media. With close gestures and a sweet atmosphere. "What's going on? Qingli, did you two break up? I heard you two got married a long time ago, so what's this about?" So he hasn't spread the news of our divorce yet. We've been divorced for a long time. The photo looks perfect together, wishing them happiness. Not long after these messages were sent, that classmate sent another screenshot. Chu Jie seemed to have been provoked, flaunting his affection excessively. He even mentioned that he was preparing to propose to Lin Yuehe, claiming that this was true love. I felt helpless and politely declined the classmate's offer to act as a messenger again. Opening the never-updated social media feed, Ju Jiming held up his marriage certificate, took a photo, and uploaded it to his feed. In the photo, a pair of distinctively bony hands held up two marriage certificates, clearly a man's hands. The first thing to do upon returning to the country was to get the marriage notarized. Ju Jiming had also started taking over the family business and was busy at the company all day. It was only at this moment that I truly came to know Ju Jiming before me, the young master of the Ju family in the capital. In the past, he was like an ever-energetic, happy puppy in front of me, exuding an irresistible enthusiasm. His smile seemed capable of dispelling all the gloom in the world. and his bright eyes always sparkled with curiosity and excitement. Wherever he went, he was like a little sun, spreading joy to everyone around him, especially to me. Mr. Ju, who is decisive and serious in front of others, automatically switches to puppy mode as soon as he returns home. It hadn't been long since things had calmed down when Chujie contacted me again to arrange a meeting, saying there were still some property division procedures from the previous divorce that required my signature. Although I didn't want to see him again, after so many years, the inheritance left by my parents had long been entangled with the Chu family's assets. To reclaim my parents' inheritance, I had no choice but to go. Ju Jiming heard about this and contacted his brother who works in the legal field. If I was unwilling to meet, his brother could fully represent me in handling the matter, only requiring my signature when necessary. I naturally accepted his kindness gladly, but Chujie couldn't accept it. Shen Qingli, are you crazy? You're marrying someone randomly just to spite me. Come out and see me. If there's any misunderstanding, let's meet and clear it up. I won't talk to that lawyer. If you want to handle this, come see me in person. Yua has a performance today, and I need to accompany her. Let's discuss any matters in a few days. To resolve the trouble once and for all, I finally agreed to meet, but looking at the message from Chujie, I was once again at a loss for words. Since last time, this is already the third time he has made excuses to avoid meeting, either accompanying Yua to buy clothes or going to concerts with Yua. By the way, there's a charity gala tomorrow night. If you apologize to me, I might just take you along. Charity gala. I ignored his message and began to recall. This morning, Ju Jiming mentioned before going to work that there's a banquet tomorrow night, and he insisted on me going with him, or else he wouldn't go to work. It can't be such a coincidence that it's the same one. But even if it is the same event, it doesn't matter. It's a good opportunity to settle things once and for all. I haven't attended such occasions for many years, and I no longer have the contact information of professional stylists in my phone. I sent a message out. Not long after, a phone call came in. Hello, Mrs. Ju, I'm your stylist. Mr. Ju asked me to contact you. When would be a convenient time for me to come and help you select a gown? My heart warmed. He always does this, keeping every little thing about me in mind, just telling him I'd accompany him tomorrow. And he immediately thought of the formal attire and styling. I stepped into the banquet in a carefully chosen gown, my figure light and graceful, the moment I entered the hall. My gaze instantly locked onto Chujie, the man who once held a significant place in my life. He was surrounded by a crowd, with Lin Yuehe nestled beside him, the two of them chatting and laughing. The familiar group of dubious friends around him still had that look of contempt in their eyes, and their gazes followed his as they turned toward me. Shen Qingli, what are you doing here? His voice sounded as if it were squeezed through his teeth. Yet his eyes lingered uncontrollably on my exposed shoulder line. My gaze passed over him and settled on Lin Yuehe, who was in his arms. His expression changed slightly, his eyes instinctively darting away. Then he tightened his arm around Lin Yuehe, flashing a smug smile. His tone tinged with a hint of self-satisfied disdain. Weren't you not coming? How did you sneak in without my invitation? If it were in the past, I would have probably been so wronged and at a loss. But times have changed, and I felt no turmoil inside, just watching him calmly. He then let out a scornful laugh. You didn't mention you were coming earlier, so I gave the invitation to Yuehe. His dubious friends around him joined in with raucous laughter, the sharp sound of mockery echoing in the air. Just then, the banquet music suddenly shifted, and a spotlight instantly illuminated the entrance. A tall figure strode in, and the entire room fell so silent you could hear a pin drop. I took a closer look. It was Ju Jiming. He had some last-minute business and asked me to come first, saying he'd follow shortly. He walked resolutely through the crowd, heading straight to my side, and naturally took my hand. Sorry I'm late. Then, turning to the crowd, his voice was steady and firm. Let me introduce everyone. This is my companion, and also my wife. His gaze swept coldly over the group of people who had just been laughing at me freely, his eyes filled with disdain. The corners of my mouth lifted slightly, my expression calm, as I gently linked arms with the person beside me. Looking back at Chujie and his group, Their faces turned pale and then flushed, their eyes filled with shock and unwillingness, and Lin Yuehe beside him also looked awkward, at a loss for what to do. Those who had just tried to embarrass me now looked as dejected as frostbitten eggplants, their earlier arrogance completely gone. I turned my head to look at him beside me, and he gave me a gentle smile, as if reiterating his wedding vow. From now on, he would shield me from all storms. The moment Zhu Jiming placed his hand on my waist, the noise in the banquet hall seemed to pause as if someone had hit the mute button. The warmth from his fingertips burned through the fabric onto my skin, his voice neither too loud nor too soft, yet clear enough for everyone to hear. My wife and I are holding our wedding next month. Invitations will be distributed after the banquet, and we sincerely invite everyone to take the time to attend. The air froze for a second, then, I clearly heard gasps rising and falling all around. Someone knocked over a champagne glass, the sound of shattering glass crisp like a slap. I caught a glimpse of Chu Jie's expression out of the corner of my eye, pale, rigid, as if he had been stabbed in the chest. His dubious friends stared wide-eyed, their mouths agape enough to fit an egg. The Zhu family's business partners, on the other hand, quickly put on polite smiles and raised their glasses to toast me. Mrs. Zhu, I've long heard of you. I slightly tilted my head, looking at Zhu Jiming's sharply defined profile. I still remember our first meeting. He was always like a joyful, playful puppy. On campus, he was always full of energy, with a bright, almost goofy smile on his lips, and his two little fangs playfully peeking out. But now, standing beside me, he has already taken on the composed and reserved demeanor of a CEO. When Zhu Jiming announced my identity in public, his fingers gently stroked my waist, as if offering silent reassurance. I suddenly felt a strong urge to laugh. So this is what it feels like to be cherished. Chu Jie finally snapped out of his shock, his voice trembling. Shen Qingli, you, Zhu Jiming interrupted him nonchalantly. Young Master Chu, do you need something from my wife? He emphasized the word wife heavily. Chu Jie's Adam's apple bobbed, his gaze flickering. We, ex-husband, I replied lightly, smiling gently yet cruelly. He is my ex-husband. Zhu Jiming chuckled softly, then suddenly leaned in and whispered in my ear, it seems young Master Chu's eyesight is really not so good. His breath was so hot it made the tip of my ear tingle. Such a good wife. And you're willing to let her go? The words were spoken at a volume neither too loud nor too soft, just enough for those around to hear. Chu Jie's expression grew even darker, and Lin Yuehe beside him also turned pale with anger. Zhu Jiming seemed to think the provocation wasn't enough and suddenly raised his hand to stroke my face. His thumb gently brushed the corner of my lips, his voice low and husky, lipstick smudged. The gesture was too intimate. I could even catch the faint scent of cedar from his cuff. Muffled gasps echoed around us. Chu Jie suddenly clenched his fist, his knuckles turning white, and Zhu Jiming, the poised and steady air of the Zhu family in the eyes of outsiders, was now, in a manner visible to everyone, lowering his head to kiss my fingertips. Going home? He asked. I smiled and nodded, letting him wrap his arm around me as we walked out. As I passed by Chu Jie, I heard him hoarsely call my name. But I didn't look back. Reuniting after a breakup, unfortunately, I'm not in the business of collecting scraps. Later, I heard that Chu Jie went mad after returning home. And Lin Yuehe had a big fight with him. After that, there was no more news of him. Meanwhile, Zhu Jiming was acting particularly strange today. The usually decisive and efficient President Zhu is now pacing back and forth in the walk-in closet like a large dog, loosening his tie only to tighten it again, and tightening it only to loosen it once more. Is this blue one too serious? He frowned while gesturing at the mirror. Or does the grey suit look more steady and reliable? I bit on the juice straw, tilting my head to watch him. Mr. Zhu, are you nervous? He paused, the tips of his ears instantly turning red, then turned and pulled me into his arms, his chin resting on the top of my head as he mumbled, "Yeah." I almost laughed out loud. Who would have thought that the newly emerged, decisive, ruthless judge of the business world would be as flustered as a high schooler on his first date before meeting the parents? The Zhu family's old house was much cozier than I had imagined. As soon as I got out of the car, a fluffy golden retriever excitedly pounced over, its tail wagging like a propeller. Ju Jiming skillfully crouched down to pet the dog's head. Tian Tian, this is Mom, me. Ju Jiming looked as if it were a matter of course. It has my last name, and you're my wife, so of course you're its mother. Before I could react, a girl with a ponytail rushed out of the house. Her eyes sparkling as she hugged me tightly. Sis-in-law, I'm Ju Yang. My brother's lock screen really is a photo of you without makeup. Ju Jiming, Ju Yang, old Mrs. Ju appeared with a fruit platter, beaming. Oh my, our Ming has never brought a girl home since he was little. I was so nervous I couldn't sleep all night. Old Mr. Ju peered over his newspaper with his reading glasses on. Qingli, right, this boy said he wanted to marry a girl in a white dress when he was 5. It seems he's finally found her. Ju Jiming's entire face flushed bright red. Grandpa, help, what kind of fairytale family is this? Weren't wealthy families supposed to be as deep and treacherous as the sea? After the meal, old Mrs. Ju mysteriously pulled me into the study and took out an intricately carved wooden box. This bracelet, you see, was passed down from Mingming's great-grandmother. She gently slipped the jade bracelet onto my wrist, the elderly lady's eyes slightly reddening. But just last week, she specifically called to say, Grandma, Ailey has slender wrists, please smooth the inside of the bracelet so it doesn't chafe her. I lowered my head, stroking the warm, smooth jade, my heart melting with tenderness. Suddenly, a thud came from outside the door, followed by Ju Yang's uproarious laughter. Brother, if you're eavesdropping, just eavesdrop quietly. Why knock on the door? The guest room had long been tidied up. Yet Ju Jiming stood at the doorway, clutching a pillow with a pitiful look in his eyes. The old house doesn't have enough heating. I raised an eyebrow. So, I have a high body temperature. His eyes were moist, like a big dog caught in the rain. I can warm the bed, of course. He got his way in the end. In the middle of the night, I woke up from the heat and found myself completely wrapped in his arms. He was sleeping without a care, his eyelashes casting small shadows in the moonlight, and the corners of his mouth slightly upturned. I gently poked his cheek, and he unconsciously grabbed my hand, tucking it into his embrace. Mumbling, wife. The next morning at breakfast, Ju Jiming was back in elite mode, taking work calls in a crisp suit. Ju Yang secretly poked me. Sis-in-law, does my brother act like a golden retriever around you? I look at President Ju, who is peeling an egg for me. He's still wearing the strawberry hair tie he insisted on snatching from me last night. Yes, I say with a smile, biting into the egg he hands me. Still the kind of bad dog who sneaks away with your things. Ju Lin's hand trembles, and the egg yolk drops right into his coffee. The whole family burst into laughter, and under the table, he tightly held my hand, his palm burning hot. At 3 in the morning, I was woken by the frantic vibration of my phone. Ju Yang sent over a dozen messages in a row. Chu Jie has gone crazy. He posted a long essay on Weibo, saying my brother is the third party who broke them up. I clicked on the link and almost laughed in frustration. Chu Jie posted a lengthy essay, accompanied by a photo of me and Ju Jiming, with words so melodramatic it felt like a tragic romance drama. Childhood sweethearts, engaged since youth. Yet still unable to withstand the pressure of power. At Ju Jiming, you used the Ju group to seduce my wife. Dare to be the other man but not face the criticism. The comments section exploded. Some criticized Ju Jiming for abusing his power, others called me a gold-digging cheater. And some even dug up the stock code of the Ju group, calling for a boycott. Ju Jiming drowsily wrapped his arms around me. What's wrong? I handed him the phone. He glanced at it and sneered, crazy. Then he rolled out of bed and directly dialed the company's legal department. I logged into my long unused Weibo and posted 3 long screenshots of chat records. First one, an explicit intimate photo of Chu Jie and Lin Yuehe, with the timestamp showing it was before we broke up. The second one, the text message from Chu Jie saying he wants to divorce me for Lin Yuehe. Qingli, Yue has been making a scene these past couple of days. Play along with me, let's get divorced first. The third one, the threat he sent me early yesterday morning. If you show no mercy, don't blame me for being ruthless. Wait for your reputation to be ruined. The caption is straightforward. At Chu Jie, Do you need me to remind you of the divorce certificate date? 10 minutes later. Chu Jie time management master trended on the hot search. Chu Jie actually dares to call me. I pressed the record button before answering, and his choked voice came through the phone. Qingli, stop messing around. The only one I truly love is you. Oh, I put the call on speaker, and Zhu Jiming raised an eyebrow and leaned in to listen. Isn't Zhu Jiming just a bit younger and has a few lousy bucks? He grew more agitated as he spoke. Do you even know that his project last month just got someone killed? Zhu Jiming suddenly let out a light chuckle. The other end of the phone fell dead silent. Mr. Chu, I said slowly, forgot to mention, this call is being recorded, by the way. The murder case you slandered was already ruled by the court as a frame-up by a competitor. Oh, and, I added, your statement just now constitutes defamation. 1 hour later, Zhu Group's official Weibo account released a statement. We have formally filed a lawsuit against Lu's defamation. Attached with an evidence package, zip. The compressed package includes transfer records of Chu Jie hiring internet trolls and the account books of his company's tax evasion. The trending topics exploded. Chu Jie asked for evidence and got it. Zhu Group Legal Department, the king of hell in the industry. Sister Qingli is so cool. Chu Jie deleted all his Weibo posts, but netizens had already taken screenshots. Someone turned his tearful interview video into a meme with the caption, I'm so ruthless I even send myself to jail. I always thought Lin Yuehe was the pure and unattainable love in Chu Jie's heart. In the photos, she looked beautiful and charming. So much so that even I found her pitiable and adorable, until that day, when I saw her at the mall, arm in arm with a strange man, her red lips pressed close to his ear as she giggled coyly, Don't worry, that fool Chu Jie just transferred enough money to support you for half a year. I stood at the corner, silently turning on the video recording function. It turns out that his so-called white moonlight was nothing more than a rotten moon coated in a layer of gold dust. I anonymously sent the video to Chu Jie's email, and his first reaction was one of fury. Who are you? Why are you stalking Yue? Instead of wasting time fabricating such an obviously photoshopped video, you should take a good look at yourself in the mirror. I couldn't be bothered to explain and deleted the anonymous email account. At that moment, I suddenly found it ridiculous. I had actually wasted nearly 20 years on such a foolish, worthless person. Some time later, I heard from Zhu Jiming that Lin Yuehe's secret lover was actually a scammer. A few days earlier, he had taken all her savings and left her with a mountain of debt. She tearfully turned back to find Chu Jie, no longer putting on airs, only to discover that Chu Jie's family company was under investigation for tax evasion, with their mansion and luxury cars all mortgaged. Even worse, during the turmoil in the Chu family's stock market, he was photographed drinking alone in a bar. The video's comment section was filled with mockery. Isn't that young Master Chu? How did he end up like this? I heard his ex-wife is now the young mistress of the Zhu Group. Serves him right, scumbag and green tea. Lock them up so they don't harm others. Half a year later, Chu Jie somehow got hold of my new number. Late at night, his hoarse voice came through the phone. Qingli, I regret it. I was leaning against Zhu Jiming's chest, eating strawberries, and chuckled lightly at his words. Regret what? Regret not cherishing you, he choked up. Only now do I realize that a woman like Lin Yuehe is no match for you. Zhu Jiming suddenly snatched the phone away, his tone icy. Mr. Chu, we're going to rest now and have no time to listen to your confessions. There was a dead silence on the other end of the phone, followed by suppressed sobs. All the grievances I had accumulated over the years with Chu Jie held no desire to be voiced to him now. It was utterly meaningless. I took a bite of the strawberry Zhu Jiming handed me, squinting my eyes at its sweetness. Some people only deserve to live in memories as a lesson. After Chu Jie's company went bankrupt, his family was utterly disappointed in him and sent him abroad to fend for himself, stripping him of his inheritance rights in the Chu family. Later, it was said that he was drawn into gambling overseas, accumulated massive gambling debts, and lived a miserable, ghost-like existence. As for Lin Yuehe, it's said that after she parted ways with Chu Jie, she latched onto a nouveau riche, only for his wife to show up with her brothers. smashing all her luxury goods. Later, someone spotted her in an urban village, her heavy makeup unable to hide her haggard appearance, arguing with a vegetable vendor over 3 cents. Encouraged by Ju Jiming, I developed my own hobby and opened a flower shop. This flower shop has now become a city landmark. One day, I arranged a bouquet of red roses as requested by a customer, and Ju Jiming stared at the bouquet for 10 minutes. The next day, my workbench was piled with top-quality Juliet roses. Use this to practice, he said with a stern face. Red roses. From now on, you're only allowed to give them to me. As a result, that afternoon he received 99 red roses. I had a delivery person send them to his office, with a card that read, "Mr. Ju, your order of not allowed for others has arrived." The whole company saw their boss with red-tipped ears as he signed for the package. Ju Jiming first met me in the scorching summer when I was 5 years old. At that time, my family hadn't encountered any misfortune yet, and we lived in the Villa district in the northern part of the city. Ju Jiming's family also lived there. That day, I was wearing a pure white puffy dress, standing barefoot by the fountain's edge feeding the koi fish. The splashing water soaked the hem of my skirt, but I didn't mind at all, smiling brighter than the sunlight. "Hey, the one in black," I shouted at the boy peeking from under the shade of the tree. "Do you want to come play too?" He took half a step back like a startled cat. Later he told me it was only his 3rd day after escaping from the Ju family's old mansion. The young master of the Ju family, who had just learned about running away from home after watching a few episodes of an idol drama with his mother. At that time, I thought. One day after our marriage, Ju Jiming suddenly wrapped his arms around me from behind, his nose nuzzling my hair. "You're like a princess who ran away from a fairy tale." I turned around and pinched his cheek. "So, President Ju has wanted to marry a princess since he was little." He chuckled softly, kissing my fingertip. "No, it was the princess who reached out to me first. Unfortunately, not long after that, my family had an incident and we moved away. And we lost touch for 20 years. Look, it's snowing. Do you think this counts as us growing old together? Hey, my dear, quickly put on your coat, don't catch a cold. If you do, I'll be the one taking care of you again."